it's terrorism, it's yours, right?
Gentlemen, the moment we label this terrorism, everything changes. It's not about Boston anymore. It's not a local investigation. It's Wolf Blitzer, it's stock markets, it's politicians.
It's terrorism. We'll take it.
Uh-oh, better bring in Jack Bauer. During the devastating Boston Marathon bombings, I remember being at a barber shop getting my ears lowered. My barber, Bruce Malone, told me the incident looked like something out of a movie. I understood what he was trying to say and remembered most people saying the same thing about September 11th. But what kind of movie was Bruce talking about? A Michael Bay movie? Stanley Kubrick? Neil Breen? Mark Wahlberg must have thought the bombings looked more like a TV show, as most of Patriots Day feels like one long episode of 24.
I understand Boston, but I can't just snap my fingers. This decision goes all the way up to the Attorney General.
Then give me his number. I'll call him right now. This is my city, Rick. Release the goddamn pictures.
After getting into hot water with his local precinct, Boston Police Sergeant Tommy Saunders, played by Mark Wahlberg, is assigned patrol duty at the 2013 Boston Marathon. After a pair of bombs detonate near the race's finish line, Tommy joins a citywide manhunt, organized by the FBI to hunt for the suspects. How do you like them apples? Patriots Day is the latest attempt in a string of movies by director Peter Berg and star Mark Wahlberg to turn current events into blockbuster entertainment, which in itself is nothing new to Hollywood, but I don't recall ever seeing it done this tastelessly before. I can't speak for Oliver Stone's World Trade Center, as when that picture came out, I was in the hospital battling food poisoning. Thanks a lot, Bennigan's. But even so, as its own film, Patriots Day feels more like propaganda than entertainment, and seeing the film in a packed movie house proved deeply disturbing. There's a scene in the picture where a local cop engaged in a firefight with the bombers yells out, "Welcome to Watertown, mother," before unloading a barrage of bullets from his M16 rifle. The line was met with raucous applause and laughter from the crowd, and I'm willing to bet that if you were to tape an audience's reaction during a screening of Patriots Day and compare it to a tape of an audience's reaction during a screening of Bad Boys, the tapes would be impossible to tell apart. Except for all the Janko jeans. I don't question Mark Wahlberg or Peter Berg's intentions when deciding to make the movie were anything less than good. After all, someone was bound to make this film, so I assume they felt the best hands were ultimately their own. I do question the studio's intentions to get the movie made so quickly, and imagine they would have been fine with anyone headlining the film as long as it was Mark Wahlberg, Matt Damon, or either Affleck. Maybe even their sister, Tracy Affleck. Between this movie, Deepwater Horizon, and Lone Survivor, Mark Wahlberg seems adamant these days to make movies about American heroism exhibited by average men. Provided, of course, that those men live to tell the tale. It's curious, however, that in the midst of so many actors portraying real men and women, that Mark Wahlberg's Tommy Saunders is as fictional as Dirk Diggler. The movie star must not have thought that any of the cops on duty that day were heroic enough to carry their own film, or maybe they just didn't live up to the prestigious Wahlburger brand.
First things first, turn this beauty salon into a Wahlburgers.
When reading articles about the movie, I read Wahlberg explain that they needed to create a hero because 20 different people told different accounts of the story. Wahlberg is quoted as saying, "Imagine all the conflicts when making a movie and telling this story in 2 hours." Well, Mark, who said you had to tell this story in 2 hours? Some movies are longer than 3. Perhaps it could have even been a mini-series on Netflix or HBO. Or, God forbid, you could have decided that telling this story was too complicated given the allotted amount of time and decided to make another movie instead. Fear to anybody? There's an especially questionable scene about midway through the film where the FBI call in Tommy to help track one of the bombers through confiscated security feeds. They need a man with a deep knowledge of the city to help them figure out where Jahar could be and when. And nobody knows these streets better than Marky Mark, except maybe for Google Maps. In fact, the movie relies so much on the fictional Tommy to act as some sort of all-American symbol for the city of Boston that he might as well have been running around with a Tom Brady jersey on. I had a problem with how the movie portrayed the ordinary citizens it featured. A lot of them felt like they'd be right at home in an SNL Boston teen sketch.
Bro. 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 Seriously, bro!
And all of them felt way too good to be true. Every character seems to have a heart of gold and a mouth for soap, but what's even more striking is how the movie introduced us to the two bombers. I would have switched the first two scenes they were featured in and changed the music cue to something a little more subtle. I think the movie makes the mistake of villainizing, then humanizing the duo, which I found unnecessary, as going into the film, I'm pretty sure audiences are well aware who they're supposed to be rooting for. Personally, I always find it more interesting when villains are humanized first, then let their actions speak for themselves.
He ran amok and he killed his family with an axe.
Well, you can rest assured, Mr. Ullman, that's not gonna happen with me.
I guess my biggest issue with the film, aside from feeling that the studio exploited a tragedy to rake in the cash, is that it takes an issue Americans have been struggling with for quite some time and attempts to make it as easy to process as an episode of Friday Night Lights. While watching Patriots Day, I was reminded of 2003's Elephant, a picture based in part on the 1999 Columbine High School massacre. That film didn't try to explain why it happened, attempt to rationalize what it meant, or meticulously recreate the events of the day. Gus Van Sant must have wisely known that that would be a losing battle, considering the senseless nature of the crime. It didn't try to ground the film with a shaking camera, making you feel like you were part of the action. Instead, it did its best to recount what a day like that probably would have looked like, at a school that might as well have been the same. The picture let its perspective float behind the action unintrusively, like some impartial third party, and trusted the audience to make up their own minds about how they should feel. I'm giving Patriots Day a C- and believe the cast and crew's hearts were probably in the right place, but given the unusually small amount of time between the actual event and the release of the film, I don't think anybody stopped to think about what they were doing. Until next time, I'm Clifford Yeddes, and this one's In the Can.
What I saw today, good versus evil, love versus hate. There's only one weapon you have to fight back with. It's love. We wrap our arms around each other.